Oh, nice morning on a Saturday. All hell breaks loose. So that border collie there's barking at that dog. Oh, and I've got to keep Tilly on because she's hyper focused on getting involved in all of this nonsense. So she's not doing. She can stay on her lead. Hello again, everybody. It's Michelle here, and I still hope you're well. And it's still Saturday. If you've come over from Michelle After Dark just now to listen to this video, then your first time here, then please do subscribe to the channel. I don't ask people to subscribe very often. You know, as a YouTuber, you're meant to tell people to subscribe and like and I always forget all of that. So yeah, while you're here, why not subscribe? And why not stick around and watch the variety of content that I put out on this channel. But this is an episode of Where Is, my ongoing series raising awareness for missing people. And this is the mysterious, odd disappearance of 19-year-old Dylan Rounds. So who is Dylan? Well, according to his mother, whom I've based the information on that I'm going to give you in this video, he's a very quiet, kind of born out of his time. He's a kid who's not into video games or socializing too much. You know, a very strong work ethic. He ran this farm, and at only 19, he's been there farming that land, you know, very inhospitable land in the desert in Lucin, Utah. Very inhospitable, and people told him that you know where you're going to get a crop to grow there, but he proved them wrong, and he has. And that's where he spends his time, and he just wants to work. So the fact that he's disappeared almost without a trace is incredibly concerning for his family. They know this is so out of character for Dylan. The last time he spoke to a member of his family was 2 weeks ago on the 28th of May. And that was a phone call with his grandmother. Now, he didn't stick around on that call because he said it's raining or it's going to rain, and he's got seed in his grain truck that he needs to get in the ground because, you know, he has to at least move this grain truck because he can't get his seed wet. And that's the last the family heard of him. His grandmother called him the day after, and other members of his family called him, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. So what happened to Dylan Rounds? The information that I'm going to share is from an interview that his mother, Candice Cooley, did with East Idaho News. Incidentally, this is the same news channel, the same reporter who's done a lot of work on the case of Dio Coons Jr., little 2-year-old who disappeared from Idaho in 2015. I covered that case. I did a little bit of a dive into that case over on Michelle After Dark a few days ago, so check that out if you haven't seen it. But his family are from Idaho, which is why East Idaho News are covering this. But like I said, Dylan's farm and the last place he was Lucin, Utah, out there in the desert. But it's very close to the state line, and Nevada is just a hop, a skip and a jump. And his family do know that when he does socialize, he does go to a bar in the Nevada town of Montello, which is about 27 miles away from Lucin. Law enforcement did go to the bar in Montello and said that they saw Dylan there that weekend. So he was in Montello. So the last sighting, the last time people had eyeballs on Dylan, is that weekend in Montello. So a different state from that he resided in, which has been a problem. Because when you're over state lines, you're out of the jurisdiction of, you know, the county that's, you know, the lead investigator, or even the statewide law enforcement service that's the lead investigator. And it can create a problem. I've talked about this before in relation to Michael Vaughan. Oh, it's really windy. Let's see if the lapel mic copes with this. Now, with missing children, small children, they will put out an alert, even if it's not an Amber Alert. And that will mean that agencies, you know, close by, even across state lines, will hear about it, and people will post it on social media, you know, because that's what social media does. And the news gets out pretty quickly. But in this case, because Dylan is an adult, his mother believes that law enforcement haven't really taken this seriously enough. Monday, May 30th, that's when the family really started to get concerned, travelled there to Dylan's farm and got some searchers out there. Within an hour and a half of the searching, they found Dylan's boots. Now, his mother says that Dylan is very concerned about the boots he wears. He only ever, and he's been like this since he was a little kid, he only ever wears one style of boots. So he only has one pair of boots, and he only gets a new pair when they wear out. But these boots were found, allegedly with a spot of blood on, that law enforcement said they were going to send to the lab. But his mother believes that these boots have not been sent to the lab even now, but that's just her word. And his pickup truck was also there. And according to his mother, it looked like it had been cleaned. So she says that Dylan would never leave that farm willingly. And if he did leave the farm, why wouldn't he have his boots on? How odd is that? And why had the truck been cleaned? Well, it could be that he cleaned the truck himself and he got his boots wet, so he left his boots out there to dry. I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't seem likely. Yeah, he could have cleaned the truck himself, but it doesn't seem likely he'd leave his boots out there if he only had one pair of boots. That's the real odd thing. But they can't find his phone or his wallet. Another big red flag. Was Dylan robbed? Did someone abduct Dylan from Montello, from the bar? I'm just imagining scenarios here. But remember, his grandma spoke to him on the 28th, but she didn't confirm where he was. His mother said something interesting, that he does stay at a place in Montello. Now, she didn't say which place, whose place he stays at, but she did say that he stays at a place in Montello sometimes. So had he stayed at that place, was he in the bar and someone abducted him? Maybe it's sadly an SA situation, or it's a robbery that's gone wrong. Somehow Dylan died, whether it's murder or unintentional, but Dylan died and they drove him back in his truck, and that's how the truck's ended up back at the farm, and they've thoroughly cleaned it to get rid of any evidence. Maybe there was blood spatter on the truck, so they've got rid of that. I'm just imagining a possible scenario, because it's really weird how his boots would be there, how his pickup would be there, but his phone and his wallet have gone.
What about his phone or wallet?
No wallet, no phone. The officer who initially I talked to on Monday, he did get a ping on his phone. It was at 3:41 Saturday, and off the tower. So it just, the last tower ping, and it's like a 15.4 mile radius is where that ping could have been. Now, his farm is in the ping. So our first assumption was he took his grain truck, he parked it, he didn't have a ride, and he took off walking back to his camper, to his pickup, which is 5 miles. But then we found the boots. Obviously, that's not the case, because he wouldn't go 100 yards one direction and throw his boots to walk 5 miles in the other direction.
His mother says that they've been able to access his social media accounts by logging in via another phone and getting into his social media accounts. Now, all of this is from his mother, not law enforcement, from his mother. She said there's nothing strange there. You know, when he's on social media, he's talking about farming. There's no conversations that would, you know, be perhaps typical of 19-year-olds, you know, like, I know, setting up a date or something like that. There's none of that. I guess it's possible that Dylan had accounts on websites that his family didn't know about, and he's an adult, he can do what he wants. And he did arrange to meet somebody, but via, I don't know, Tinder or something like that, I don't know. So just because his family have got into his social media doesn't mean to say that there wasn't information on that phone that could say exactly where Dylan was the last time, you know, his last known location. But all we know for now is that he spoke to his grandmother on the Saturday and he was sighted in Montello. So searches have been out around the farm. Helicopters have been out. What his mother really wants, though, is a wider search, because across the state line, Nevada has not been searched. So if Dylan is out there somewhere, either alive or sadly deceased, the only place that's been searched in Nevada is the bar. We're not going that way. We're not going that way. We're not going that way. She wants to go that way. That's her favourite walk. But I'm not going that way today. Come on. Tilly, come on. I'm not going that way. Now, there are a couple of people that have been mentioned. Someone called Chase.
So here we have this person of interest that is trying to get a hold of the sheriff's office saying, hey, I want to talk to you guys. And the sheriffs are blowing him off. Don't even transfer him. Don't even get him to the detectives. Don't call him back. They did finally talk to him, and he is since in custody on unrelated charges. So, you know, whether or not Chase knows something, when I say we've cleared him off of our list. Justin and I have cleared him off
As a family.
As a family, because we've found him, we've located him for the police. He's in custody, so what he knows, or if he knows anything, that is now the police job to get it out of him.
Do you think in your heart that he was involved with your son's disappearance?
I don't. In my heart, I really don't. The timeline doesn't match. And then to find out, and we have key witnesses that have come forward that watch it, Dylan did give him a ride that day. Dylan told me he did not, so that was my motive. Here my son is, he leaves this guy out in the middle of the desert, then we find, with no shoes, then we find his boots, you know, but Dylan did give him a ride, we know that for a fact, but he's not going to tell mom that, because then mom's going to be angry and be like, why are you picking strange people up in the desert? Mm-hmm. So he left that out. But we do know he gave Chase a ride, so then there goes your motive.
If Dylan is in the habit of picking strange people up, well, that could be your answer. Somebody out there knows something. So share this video, share the information about Dylan, and hopefully somebody will come forward with that little piece of information that the law enforcement and family need to find out where Dylan is and to bring him home. Shout out to Secret End of the Video Club. This is how windy it is. This is what it sounds like without the lapel mic. Come on. What are you doing?